Hello, this is Better Call Paul. That's Luca, my trusty helper. All she does is hang around 10 feet away from me all day long. This is a AGA, I believe, stove and cooktop unit. This came in from, I think, North Carolina. And Luca's been inspecting all the components, making sure that they're all in place. What she has discovered, though, is that after watching a couple of videos online on YouTube, there was one guy in Britain that was taking one apart to basically throw in the garbage. He he was saying about how difficult it might be to put this stuff back together. So this is my attempt at putting one of these units back together. The guys that packed this up down in North Carolina did a really good job. The only thing is a lot of it isn't labeled, so I'm not quite sure where things go or how they put together. And I'm just stumbling across the fact that after watching some of those videos, the pegs for the base are strictly pegs. Everything sits on top of them. The burner is pretty much self-explanatory. It has a burn box with a heat transfer case opening on it. The burner, or the actual flame burner part, it goes inside that metal box. It just hooks on for easy servicing, and it fits inside of that box. The one thing I'm struggling with right now is the gas line. Whether that gas line goes, I can put it in through the back and under the bottom, or if I have to go back into this hole in the side and redo the gas line from the back part of the unit down into the floor or up. Now there's a couple little square openings on the bottom of this here. I have no idea why that's there, or that opening back there which has 3 bolts on it. I mean, I'll figure that out as I go. The back has one little opening at the top, and that's for the vent, the heat vent on it, or chimney. And there's no other access in the back for, say, a gas line or some kind of electrical hookup. This is straight gas, no power unit on it at all. Luca thinks there's a mouse somewhere in there, but she hasn't found it yet. I think she's just smelling remnants of cooking. So this is the like a manual or instructions that are printed off of the World Wide Web, and yeah, it's great. It shows you all the cool stuff from the outside. It doesn't show you anything on the inside. So you gotta kind of stumble through this. This unit's pretty clean. If the gas line does stay back there, you can't get to it to shut it off. So I just made a MacGyvered a extension gas line pipe with a shut off on it. And so my guess is that that hole that Lucas seems to think there's something in there. My guess is that that is where the gas line on this actually went in. So I think it went in through here, along the bottom, and then in through that tube there, and then into the bottom hole in the box, which hooks up to the gas line here, right there, onto the burner, and that's the control mechanism, the viewing window to see what your flame is doing. And it just has these little hooks on here that hook on those bolts at the top of the box. Pretty simple. At that point, the gaskets, they sent me all new gaskets for it, and I think they're labeled. I haven't gone through them. It just talks about what kind of rope it is and the length and the gaskets. So I think I can use that stuff to replace it. My guess is I found this stuff around, and it's a high temperature cement. So it's right side, and it goes up to 2,000 degrees. So my guess is that That's to help glue the gaskets, the new gaskets on, in order to hold them in place until you get the components back together. So this body of the stove came as a unit. Now the heat has to be transferred through that box and then into these two boxes here that are different types of temperatures and also heat this grill. Get your head out of there, Luca. Then the other components are in this part of the room. They are what I believe is the sits on top of the burner. That's one of the plates upside down, the cooking plate, or the hot plates. And that's another hot plate. Those plates there, I'm yet to figure what they're for, but I'll stumble through them. My understanding is that those chrome insets there are to separate the oven from the door and allow you to pack all the insulation in it. The connecting rods are all packaged up. That's one of the sides in the box. These are the oven grills and the inlet. I have no idea what this thing is. Yeah, you have to figure that out. There's some ropes, and there's these little brackets here that my understanding from watching the other videos, they get mounted on the side of one of these boxes here, which my guess is it's going to be possibly here. That's my guess. And it's just a matter, that's one oven, that's a top oven. You can tell it's a top oven by the turbo, these things are heavy. The top here, which has the heat transfer from one burner through to the oven. Get out of there, Luca. Move. Get. Okay, that's the bottom oven. And it has a chimney transfer on there. I haven't figured that out yet either. So there's a long way to go. These bags, there's about 8 bags. Most of them are filled up with vermiculite. One of them is filled up with rock wool, what they call it, just to cap off the stuff and get it in where the vermiculite won't go. And I believe it's vermiculite, and I don't know if that stuff, like the guy in Britain said, whether that's asbestos based or organic based. That won't kill me in a couple more years because of all the dirty renovation stuff they've been doing. So anyways, through some trial and tribulations, they just sort of mounted these boxes together. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Now I'm going to carry on with a few more parts. I have to go get some gas fitting. But from what I can tell, I think I may have to move my main gas line. So I'll continue assembly at this point, and I'll come back and do another video on where I've gotten at this point. So have a good day.